So, at the end of last video, we talked about a pain person, right? And we're just gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about like what that is and all that jazz, just so moving forward, we can all be on the same page. Yeah? So now you're gonna listen to and hear a nice little combo between me and Sarah, your internet best friend, my real life best friend, so, you know. I'm joking. But we are here to both be your besties. So you're gonna have a good little combo with us. Ready to go on the journey?
So, B,
It's good.
you mentioned a pain person last episode. What exactly is that?
So there is a podcast that Dr. Umar was on, and it's controversial as some of y'all may feel he is. There are topics and things that he talks about because he is an actual doctor of psychiatry. So, of psychology, sorry. So, some of his points are actually based in like actual applied theory and actual constructs that people do follow. So one of the things that I had heard him talk about was a pain person, and I heard it talked about in another podcast, I believe about 2-3 years ago. It was about a pain person. It's about a pain person, and a pain person is somewhat not a physical manifestation, but a mind's eye manifestation of your traumas and situations and hurts that you've been through that, you know, build how you emotionally react to certain things. So, like, my pain person's name is Michelle. And its name is Michelle because that was one of the options that my dad had for a middle name for me. So, my pain person's name is Michelle. And in my mind, Michelle is this, like, what I think I am when I be getting in my attitudes. It's like this, like, 7 foot tall, Amazon amazing woman that I 5'4" am not. So she is. I like to have her in my mind look like this amazing Amazon because I don't want my pain person to be something that I'm ashamed of, sad about, hurt by, per se. I want her to be someone that I can work with. So that is why I imagine her that way. But she is the mental visual manifestation of a lot of my hurts and pains. And I think when dealing with your pain person, it's okay to name it and to know how it moves, what it likes, what it doesn't like, because knowing that pain person and being, you know, good with that pain person and understanding them helps you when you're building relationships, and not just romantic relationships, friendships, business, professional relationships, spiritual relationships and bonds. A lot of the times when we're talking about relationships, people are so keen on thinking about romantic relationships that we forget all the other relationships that exist in your life. You forget your, like, paternal bonds and stuff like that. So when I think about what a pain person is, I think it is the mental visual manifestation of your hurts and pains and traumas and issues in life that you have, that you're ready and willing to deal with.
I really like that answer. Actually, it kind of helps. It fits the name for sure, pain person. But I kind of want to ask you another question, if that's okay. You mentioned that Michelle is like a 7 foot tall glamazon type woman. Is there any reason that she's kind of opposite of you?
There is. So she is opposite of me because I do not want to live in my pain person's shadow. I want to be able to coexist with her because she exists. She's not this like thing to be pushed down and anxiously avoided. She exists, and I want her to still be able to be heard when I'm going through things. If I'm triggered, that's her knocking, that's her touching my shoulder, like, hey, yo, bro, this, hey, we getting a little close to some pain. Chill out. you know, or hey, let me kick it with you real quick. Like we need to chat. So I want her to be opposite of me because I want to coexist with her, but not live in her shadow. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just feel like it's important to note that with a pain person, they can be a mirror image of you, and they can also be completely opposite. They can be different gender, different age, different, completely just demographically and biologically from you, and they can still exist and it's still valid.
Because I will say, initially, she like mirrored me.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't even have a different name. She had my middle name. I'm never gonna tell y'all what that is, but she definitely had like my middle name. Like we was like Bonnie and Clyde, and it was a problem. It was a big, huge, massive problem when starting to try to have myself worth and self love and this mental health journey. Seeing her as my mirror and as my equal became an issue. And recognizing, shout out to my therapist, recognizing that she was my equal became a really big like turning point in how I started to push through, and I didn't say push through, but deal with some of and combat some of the things that was coming at me and how I was feeling about certain things.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that you mentioned that you went to therapy, because a lot of people, regardless of generation, just tend to have this weird misconception of therapy, that you're going there and your therapist has this preconceived notion about you and they're just there to judge you, and that's not the experience that you had. Can you talk about what that felt like, kind of discovering your pain person with your therapist?
So one, I tried to make sure, and I suggest whenever going to therapy, you make sure that your therapist you are comfortable with, and I mean comfy. Like my therapist knows stuff about me nobody knows. Like nobody knows. And I tried to make sure, like I said, I was really comfortable with her. I also tried to make sure that it wasn't her. They either had to be of my same gender, of my same race, or of my same age. And two of them had, or like in my age bracket, two of them had to be different. Either had to be a millennial and a woman, or a woman and black, or black and a millennial. It had to be like one of the things. And I actually almost was able to get all three, but me and her schedule didn't work out, so I had to pick a different one or go to someone else. But I have always been able to get the two, so I've always been able to get a woman and a millennial. And it's because sitting in that space where we have some commonality makes getting comfortable with you a little bit easier. I also am a psychology major, so I know the importance of rapport and transparency, and I know the importance of being really particular about who your healthcare providers are. And when I say healthcare, I mean healthcare in general. Like I mean your primary care doctor, your obstetrician, your optometrist, your therapist, your everything. Like your oncologist, like whatever that primary care or that healthcare provider is for you, your dentist, literally whomever, you need to be comfortable with that person. Because they do have a part of your health in their hands and you're walking this journey with them. So I said all that to say, when discovering my pain person and building my pain person with my therapist, we had by that point gotten such a good rapport that she was able to tell me things that I wasn't noticing, or I was able to ask her questions and not feel stupid for asking, and I will say that to people going to therapy, unfortunately, it is a lot of minorities that feel as though therapy is like this taboo still, which is wild to me, but they still feel that way. And it's not. You wouldn't feel stupid for going to a neurologist about your brain, about things in your brain. You don't feel stupid about going to a dentist about your mouth. Like, why do you feel crazy about going to a therapist about your mental health? That's literally what they're on there for. Like, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's that for a reason. Like, we need to focus on what is best for our holistic health and your brain and your mental health. They do this right here. They do this cool. So it's important. But building it with her was a lot. Like it took a lot of the weight off to be able to kind of separate the two for me, because I was a visual person. So visualizing this person as being this pain as being a whole different person, and being able to step into or feel as though I'm comfortable in knowing that this is a pain, but this is me. This is Michelle. This is me. We can be like this, but we can be like this, but we never need to be ingratiated in each other and all up in each other's skin. Like, we don't need to do that.
I like that a lot. I mean, have you talk about how your therapist helped you so much, and I'm really glad that she was able to. Do you feel like this is something you would have been able to do without her?
No, because I didn't have the tools to do it. This is a part of, again, the reasoning for this podcast, to give tools that I didn't necessarily have at the time, because I want to share it with other people, because having the tools makes the process a little bit easier and the journey a little bit more bearable. I was listening to something online about, especially if you have a spiritual base or if you're a Christian, a lot of the time we will see the Bible as this thing, this book of God always like showing up and handling it, but no one wants to think about the verse that says the race is not given to the swift or the strong, but the one that can endure. Sometimes God leave you in it so you can endure through it. Like, sometimes it's not him. He'll let you sit in it to learn a lesson you need to learn and to build the strength you need to learn, and then he'll open the door and provide a way for you to walk out of it. Sometimes it's not just him being like, whew, out of the problem you go. Like, sometimes you get the shut off notice and it gets shut off. Like, sometimes that's just how it is. But that's okay, because it doesn't make your testimony any more different, any different from anybody else's. That you had to endure, but somebody else was given what they needed. You may have needed to endure to get a strength and to have a testimony that gives to other people. So I think with her help, I was able to understand how to endure a lot more. So, but I know for sure how my life was going, absolutely not. I could have not done that by myself. No. We'd have been stuck in depression. Super bad.
No, I mean, being in your 20s is not for the weak. I feel like it's just no one.
I really never go back to my 20s.
It's, I mean, like,
loved every year that I had my kids.
Exactly.
Loved it.
Exactly.
Just 10 out of 10 would never go back. Not wouldn't recommend. Would recommend. My 20s, my college experiences, my early adulthood has been phenomenal. I'm blessed and highly favored. But would happily never go back. So it's like a time machine. Do you want to go back with 21? No. Not at all. No. Never thank you, survey.
Well, I think that's really important to say too, because when you're right in the middle of it, you just feel like you're in the thick of it and it's never gonna end. Yeah. And it's like, wait, I've gotten out of this. Like, it does end. You just need the tools, you need the guidance, and you just need the will to do it, and it will come to you. It just takes time.
Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's not even you need the will to do it. Sometimes you just, this is about to sound so cliche and so Disney, and for all my Disney nerds, you can clock this, but sometimes you just need to do the next right thing, bro. Like, sometimes just like that song meant so much to me. And for those who haven't caught it yet, Frozen 2, go watch it. If you're an adult suffering with depression, go watch that shit. It'll help a lot. But that song, I was like crying in the theaters, lucky, because I knew what it was to be so heavy with pain and with emotion and with sadness and with anger and with guilt and with shame and with like all the things, and just really pray that you can just get up. Like, it got to a point, it was so bad that like I was like, if I took a shower, I'm winning. Like, and this was while I had children, so like if I got them to school on time, I'm winning. If they had cinnamon toast crunch for dinner, because that's what they asked for, because I can't make a 3 spread meal day. Like I can't make the baked chicken with the green beans and the cornbread with the macaroni. I can't make it today. I'm sorry. I would love to. I can't. Mommy can't do it. So, cinnamon. You want cinnamon toast crunch? You want cereal? Okay. They ate. General Mills is a balanced breakfast. They ate something. Like, it got bad. It got so bad that like I didn't recognize myself. So when my family members and my mom and my dad would be like, "I don't recognize you," I feel that. I don't recognize me either. I'm glad we understand each other. Like, it's shitty, but you know, I didn't slit my wrist today. So that dark thought about me just driving off the highway overpass, it didn't happen today. It didn't win today. So we need to be happy about that. Okay? Like, the girl didn't go get a gun just to shoot herself today. So how about we just be really happy about those moments and stop telling me that I'm not what I need to be. Right now I need to be alive. So
now, how do you feel like you build your pain person?
So I had homework from my therapist that I actually did. I don't always do this homework, but I did the therapist homework at the time. And she should just write down to that point everything that hurt, like every instance from any person. If it hurt enough for me to remember it, it hurt enough to write it down. So I wrote it out, and I horribly made this like person, like not necessarily a stick figure, but like the big head and like the X person. Sat down, made one of those, and I just like wrote inside each instance, like feeling it. So I couldn't feel it no more, so I had to like flip the page and make another. Just like feel it, and I just kept going. And eventually, the initial person was named something different, but eventually, what came to be Michelle came about.
That sounds like a really arduous process, just going through. Was it like everything you were remembering throughout your life? Was it just the last couple of days? Was there a time frame that you guys looked at to build your pain person?
Initially, she had told me, because we were talking about my ex at the time, or my children's father, and she was like, just in y'all's relationship. So at that time, we had just broken up, like the final time. And she was like, in the 6 years y'all together, just do that time. So I did that. And that's why I feel like the person's name had to change too, because the function of the pain person changed to me over time. So that person, that's where that came from, that 6 years. Over time, when I kind of understood the concept a little bit more, then I started widening it to when was the first initial like, yo, this hurt. When was the first time you didn't feel good enough? When was the first time that you felt like something was your fault? When was the first time that you felt like you destroyed it? When was the first time that it really, really hit you that like, oh, life ain't sweet no more? So I went all the way back to that time, which my first ever thing that brought me like pain was my parents' divorce. That was the first ever one, because at that point, my parents had been together for years, and I can't remember who, but somebody let it slip that like after my parents had me, they started having all these problems. So like, I don't think the person did it to like tell me I was a problem. I think they did it to say like, oh, it's been since you've been born, and you weren't the one that caused the issues. It's just been since you've been born. And I don't think they understood that that's what it said in my brain. Like that's what my mind said. So yeah, that was the first one that like. That was the first. That was the first time that like it really hurt. It was the first time that I felt like, and to be 100% honest, I'm not different. Like, almost every divorced kid feels like it's their fault. Almost every divorced kid feels like they're the issue, and like if it wouldn't have been for them, their parents would still be happy, and you caused all this pain, and and it didn't help that I was like the only child too, so I couldn't be like me and my siblings. No, it's just you, Charlie. So that's in my brain. That was like the first time that it hit. Like, I was like, damn, bro. And funnily enough, the day that I found out that, unceremoniously by the way, that I found out that my ex was living with his girlfriend, that feeling came back. Like, the two did this, like, when are twins activate? Like, it was ridiculous, because I ended up going to a room that I was pumping in at my job and just legit crying so hard that I got into a fetal position. It was like rocking, because the only thing that was going through my brain was, you can never fix your family. Like, you always destroy families. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, bro, you're the problem. Like, you're just like, you can't do shit. Like, why do you even keep trying to love? Because you can't do it. No one wants to stay. Every time you get people in there and you fuck them up. And they're like, it was horrible. Like, I legit, on top of being sad and on top of being angry, because we had come to an understanding that we wouldn't introduce the children to our significant other without the other parent having met the significant other. And what's so crazy, the girlfriend that heard me say that on the phone, to reiterate that on the phone, he knew that, but he still did what he did. And said he'd watch the kids that came to his new apartment, which he said was his apartment. Come to find it's not, it's hers. But anyway, he had me drop them off, and that was it. Had my child not FaceTime me, and I noticed stuff in the background, I would have never known, because he wasn't going to say anything. And I was just so hurt, because that was the nail in the coffin to me of, oh, he don't even respect you, bro. Because, like, wanting to be in a relationship with him had, like, passed. That died. That February. That died then. That was, like, dead in the coffin, 10 feet under. Not even 6, 10. Cemented, blocked down. Don't want to be here no more. But in my mind, we could still have a mutual respect for one another. That instance said, oh, bro, you don't even respect me. Like, I could have died. Literally could have died giving birth to your children each time, and you don't respect me. What? So that feeling, that you don't respect me feeling, turned into, oh, he don't respect you because you ain't shit. You ain't shit because you can't even keep a family together. So it just started doing this. And remember when you was little, and it's your fault that your parents ain't together, right? Now, like, all of that those dark thoughts just started seeping in. So, yeah. It just depends, I think, on what you're ready to face with building your pain person. I would suggest starting small and starting in that same, like, I would say 4 to 5 year block. And if you want to keep expanding, do that so you can get a full picture of who this person is. But I would suggest, starting in that first 4 to 5 year block, personally.
That's super profound, actually, because I think when people think about incidents that help to build their pain person, they probably just go, like you did, back to your childhood and just kind of expand from there. Sometimes there are really traumatizing incidents that come about, like, to the forefront of your mind, that may not have necessarily happened in childhood. And I do want to ask, those dark thoughts that you were experiencing, do you feel like that was Michelle, your pain person, talking to you?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. What I would like to think, my pain person is that initial hurt, not the thoughts that come after it, but that initial, like, point of, like, ugh. So, like, for me, I use the analogy of, especially when dealing with trauma, I use the analogy of when you get a scab on your arm, and when dealing with healing, I use the analogy of when you get a scab on your arm. The scab doesn't mean that it's completely gone away and that it's never going to hurt again. going to hurt. Like it may not be just as sharp as like as soon as when you initially got it, but you're gonna feel like a dull, like that kind of hurt. Like, what is that? Like you're gonna feel it, but that initial like is what I feel the pain person is, not the dark thoughts that follow it. The dark thoughts that follow it is just your emotional response. It's your response. It's your pain. It's your. Sometimes it's truly just your brain's way, not even your brain, your spirit's way. Sometimes of something else coming in, and I look at it spiritually that those are your demons that are coming in. And sometimes you got to be able to fight. And I'm not saying that is easy. God knows it's not, but it is. But it is possible. Because now some of those demons aren't as strong. Do they still exist? Yeah. And there are times when I don't feel like I'm doing the best I can as a mother, and I start to feel like, you ain't shit. But then I look at my daughter and I look at how happy she is. I look at my sons and they run up to me and be like, Mommy, Mommy. Or my second born, he'll go, strawberry, Mommy. And the way that I'm able to go to the back of the kitchen and give it and provide it. Yeah. Water break.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. My knee is still fucked up. I keep doing this to myself. Okay.
So I just have one more question.
Okay.
You mentioned that sometimes an incident can be so painful that it just comes to the forefront of your mind when you're building your pain person. Is a traumatic incident the same thing as an incident that can help you build your pain person? Is that the same?
In my opinion, yes. So, in my opinion, pain is pain. The severity of the pain is the only difference. Engaging it, but pain is pain. If it was hard enough and painful enough to come to your mind's eye, it's strong enough to put it in there. It's strong enough to build on. Because a lot of the times we'll forget that those little moments add up to big things. Like we forget that pennies make dollars. The same way that pennies can make dollars eventually, little points of pain can make trouble. Because we sometimes push it down so far and so badly that we forget that this started back here a long time ago. So I think that they can both be the same. I think that they can both add, that the two are really symbiotic of one another. If that makes sense. But I think they can be. Because a big trauma can build a pain person as well as a smaller point of pain that can then lead up to a big trauma. So I think it's your personal opinion on to gauge what you per se want to say builds your pain person. But I know for me, anything that when I think about pain in all its forms, anything that comes to mind is what I used to make Michelle.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking the time to kind of clarify that, what a pain person is, how they're built, if trauma is the same as an incident that can build your pain person, and everything in between. Is there anything that you want to say to anybody that may be listening and possibly going on this journey for the first time?
I would say be honest with yourself and be prepared for what kind of pain that may be and what kind of pain that may bring. Because revisiting trauma is triggering. So, that's why I would suggest staying within the 4 to 5 year bracket first and then going further back, because you don't want to keep putting pain on 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 pain, and like making it bigger. You want to try to deal with the pain, in my opinion, deal with the pain that's there, do a good basis for it, go back a little bit more like, okay, so this is the pain I have now, this pain was caused by this. Okay, that's that pain. That pain was caused by this. Okay, this is that pain. So you're slowly starting to kind of break down what's happening and why it's happening. So like I said, be honest with yourself and give yourself some grace. So many times in life we give people and other people the grace that we would never give to ourselves. We gotta stop doing that. And I am a big person. I'm a big person that does that too. Like I'll be understanding of so much. Ask my last relationship. I'll be so understanding of so much. But then if I make a mistake, it's the end of the world. Like it's all bad. So be honest with yourself. Be prepared for the pain. And give yourself grace. You know, get on that journey when you're ready for it. Don't do something just because I'm telling you to do it. Don't do something because your therapist is telling you to do it. Don't do something because your mama telling you to do it. And for all them with Southern mamas, I understand. But change only happens when you want it to. It doesn't happen when other people want it to. And for the friends who go through this now but be like, oh friend, you should do this too. Let that friend be that friend. Let that friend get there when they get there. You just need to be supportive. That's it. Can't make anybody get on the journey with you. But when they do get on the journey, especially if you've already started, you can be a beacon. You can be a light. That's literally what this podcast is for. Because when I was going through it, absolutely no. Like I shouldn't have been giving nobody no advice. Because your girl, like I said, was barely getting through that day. But now that I've gone through a good chunk of it, because I would never say that I'm healed from something. I would say that I'm a work in progress every day, because something else could come up that triggers a different situation. So healing is not linear, just like grief isn't linear. Eventually some stuff gets there and you thought you dealt with it and you didn't. Sometimes you get to a different type of relationship and a different type of that same trigger can be reimagined or reopened, and you didn't even, you thought you handled it, but you didn't, because you haven't been in this space yet. So to recap, be honest with yourself, be prepared for the pain, give yourself some grace, and be supportive of yourself and somebody else's journey. Well, next week we'll talk about some of the instances. We'll give examples of some of the instances that built Michelle, so my pain person. We will see you next week. I love you. See you again, my fine friends.